which I can probably put up on my phone too.
Yeah, I just got a notification on YouTube that you're live.
Let's see if it's actually running.
Yep, I got you. I can see your hat. You're looking down.
All right, cool. And can you hear me through the YouTube channel? No, it's going to be hard to decipher.
Hold on. I muted it. Yeah.
Wait a second. You can hear me through it? Actually, I can test it myself.
You see your hat. You're looking down.
All right, cool. And can you hear me through? Yeah, you can hear me. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Oh, it's going to be hard. All right, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do, yeah, I got it figured out. So you should be able to see, let me pull up my YouTube channel.
I'm going to try to pop out both chats here.
Yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to have was the chat so we can talk to people. But it should show whatever, my computer should show whatever my screen is on. So I'm just going to turn my screen onto, yep, so it does. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to turn my screen onto your webcam and and then my people will be able to see me and you, which is cool. So, all right, so I'll do that, and then when you guys go live, I'll pull this out as a separate window, and I should be able to see you guys, no problem. And should be able to get got a couple minutes here. I should be able to get you guys. I don't have your chat. You'll have your chat. I'll have my chat.
I'm gonna pop them both out. You know how to do that?
No, I did it last time, but last time I did live stream, I was having a couple drinks. So.
Well, it's just on the comment box. There's like 3 little dots over there to the right hand side. If you click on that, it pops it out into a separate box, and you can enlarge it or make it smaller, whatever you want. And then you can go pull up my video and do the same. Just pop out the chat box from it, okay. The comment box.
Oh, by the way, I didn't turn off the live. We have 15 people watching already. So, yep. All right, cool, guys.
So, hey everybody, we're getting ready. We're going to be actually streaming on both channels.
I don't want to kick you guys out, so I'll just leave it on. Just know that we're going through some technical crap right now. So sorry about that, guys. And actually, let me. You know what? I should have like a banner that says "live soon" or something. That would be pretty cool. Let's see. Hang on. I can use my magical paint skills.
I've got both chat boxes popped out.
Cool.
Bart will be coming in from his house.
Awesome. Okay. Add more technical to our.
And we got about 4 minutes yet, guys, before we start. Well, actually, I guess I'm already drinking.
There we go. Super official. Jesus. All right. I'll be right back.
Guys, we're still getting set up, so bear with us. Dave was going to try. We are streaming on our channel. Dave wanted to stream on his channel at the same time, so we were kind of testing that. And he got it set up and going. And for us to test it, he went live, and it's working. So he's live right now on his channel. We're not live on the Dummies channel yet. And I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit here just on me, so you don't have to look at the empty chair where Bart should be sitting. Yeah, Tom, I can see your comments. I've got both chat boxes. This one may be a challenge. I've got chat boxes to both videos up, and William Scott Slattery, Daniel Willis, some guy from St. Paul I can see on our channel. Several people over here on Dave's channel commenting. Looks like Bart, we're semi live.
All right. Okay.
Dave wanted to try streaming on his channel at the same time, and he uses the OBS software. So he was setting it up, and to test it, he had to go live. So we're live on his channel right now. So we are live on Whiskey Blooded's channel. We are not live on our channel yet.
All right. Well, kick us live.
We'll have to track our viewers and Dave's viewers and see if we can set a record. I'm sure we will.
Sweet.
Do you have your sample of the 4 grain?
Oh boy, I've got my triple wood. I couldn't tell you if
it was a 2-ounce bottle I left you. You didn't drink it. It was out on your bar last time I was over there.
Let me see, because if I kept it segregated, it'll be okay.
And Dirt 117 is watching from. He's on duty at Fort Riley. Nice, not too far from us. We're in Wichita. Fort Riley's up by Topeka. Everybody that's just tuning in, if you're tuning in on Dave's channel, we are live kind of prematurely on his channel. He was setting up. Dave wants to live stream from his channel as well with OBS software. So to test it, to make sure it was working, he had to go live. So you're getting to see us set up a little bit here. This is normally behind the scenes.
And I think I'm set up now. So I just poured our stuff.
Good thing you had pants on, Dave.
I did have some shorts on, some gym shorts. Made it to the gym today for once. Which is about the first time in 6 months, probably.
That gets harder and harder as we get older and kids and everything else.
Oh, yeah. All right, so now, yep, my thing went live. Let me pop out the chat here real quick. Popping out the chat. How do I do that?
Just go over to the right. There's 3 dots that'll show up.
About chat? Perfect.
There you go. And then you can close that window if you want to, and the chat will stay open.
Boom.
You find it? All right, we're ready to go live. It's a 9:01. Are you guys ready? On our channel, anyway.
Let me get your window open again.
We're going live. The wheels are turning. Something's a-turning. We're turning, and we are live. We're live on both channels.
What's up, guys?
Welcome. Hold on just a second. I got to switch back here. Everybody's probably just seeing me. Let me turn that off.
Hey, it's the Scotch Test Dummies. To know us, I'm watch out.
So we got both of you. Okay. And there's no way to pop you guys out even more, though.
And I've got to mute mine. We're having all kinds of technical problems. There we go.
Some of that's me, too. I was going to pull out the pop-out screen.
We all got windows open and different videos on. Welcome, everybody that's tuning in on Whiskey Blooded's channel and the Scotch Test Dummies. I'm Scott.
I'm Bart.
I'm Dave.
And with us tonight, Dave, go ahead. Sorry, I covered you. Introduce yourself.
I'm Dave from Whiskey Blooded, different channel. Do a lot of bourbon, so nice to meet you guys.
Woohoo!
We are going to take a look at tonight. Now, Dave focuses. He has done some scotches, different whiskeys. He loves the bourbons. We're going to take a look at Colonel E.H. Taylor 4 grain, and then coming over into Bart's wheelhouse.
Bam.
Laphroaig triple wood will come up next.
That's what I've got poured out back there too. Though my camera isn't apparently as good as your guys', but I've got 4 grain and triple wood back there on the barrel today.
Now this is a temporary studio for you. Is that right? Where you're at?
This is my office at home, but well, yeah, this is where I usually do this stuff. I do my normal videos in my dining room, and then this is where I shoot when I'm just on a webcam like today. So
Well, thank you for joining us. And actually, we tried to hook up a while back, and you took about a 2-month hiatus, went off the grid, went, black.
Yep.
Wow. What was he, fly fishing? You out there fly fishing?
No, just new baby.
Oh,
So yeah, we have a young infant at home. So yeah, so that was pretty much the hiatus there. So and then work got real crazy too. So
Scott claims to have a young infant at home too, but he's just talking about me. Right.
That is too funny. So yeah, I watched a bunch of your guys' videos. It's actually funny because in either before I get into stuff, either chat, let me know if we're echoing at all, because that would probably be on my end, and I may have to adjust something here. But it was funny because you guys had just done 4-grain. I just put out a 4-grain video today, and then Scott had mentioned it, so that was pretty cool. And then the triple wood, you guys did that. What was it about a year ago that you guys did that?
Oh, at least probably, if not even. Yeah, it might have been about a year ago, probably last spring.
You think it was then?
Cool. Yeah, I couldn't find any lore, which is what I'd mentioned I wanted to do. Apparently, that's really hard to find, or people really like it, or it's a limited release or something. But I really liked it the last time I tried it. So
it's good. Scott saved me on that one. I'm a Laphroaig fan, and I almost let her go.
So you were thinking you wouldn't like the lore, or you were just done with some of the Laphroaig products?
I was gung-ho to get it. There was a Carchus, Laphroaig Carchus, I wasn't real thrilled on. And when I showed up to get this at our local friendly neighborhood store, they were like, "You're going to be disappointed. Don't do it. Don't do it."
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I usually don't fall for that. Bruno will be the first one to tell you I don't fall for peer pressure, even when it's necessary.
Okay.
And then I didn't get it, and he gets it of all things, and is like, "You're going to love it," and I did. So I went back and got it. There was still some when I went looking.
Okay.
So I got lucky. It is good. If you do get a chance to find it, it's a peat taster. It's good.
I sampled it, really small sample, but I did like it a lot. So cool. Well, so yeah, how do you guys want to do this? Do you want to crack into one and talk about it maybe, and then answer some questions from each chat maybe?
Yeah, Bart skipped right over our intro. So anyway, Bart, we got the Colonel E.H. Taylor 4-grain and the Laphroaig triple wood. What are we going to do?
We're going to test it! You're like, what? What is that?
Let's test it.
Awesome. Yeah, let me grab mine, guys.
Let me get mine in there.
I was warming up with a little Elijah Craig small batch.
There you go. I actually warmed up with some Laphroaig 10-year cast strength.
Guys,
you can't start with a Laphroaig and then go to a bourbon.
No, that's all you're gonna taste.
No. See, I got a peat taste bud. It can snap in and out of the peat.
So I tried this last live stream because I didn't even know live streaming was a thing, and then I just jumped on. I think one of you guys messaged me right after that. So I tried this on stream last time, but I was just more like answering questions. I didn't even really get into the review of it at all. So I'm excited to see what you guys think of it. I watched your video on it, but kind of interested to see what you think on your second go around of it. So
yeah, I was impressed. By the way, Ryan Summers says he has to really be in the mood for the peat. Basically, Ryan, I'm always in the mood. I'm always in, baby.
Do you wake up in the middle of the night to have a shot of the peat?
Boom, I roll over and there's a bottle right there. I'm usually cuddling with it, much to my wife's dismay.
Hey, I'm going to do a we normally on our live streams we don't do Scotch God shout outs, but I'm going to do a shout out real quick.
Do it.
And he's watching on Whiskey I was going to say Whiskey Dave's Whiskey Blooded's channel, but Troy Coots, I want to say Couts. He left a comment earlier that his buddies were coming over tonight. We were both their favorite review channels, and they were going to be watching from his house.
Wow.
Very cool.
Yeah, nice shout out to Troy there and Troy's buddies.
Troy's buddies. Are there two, or is it more than two buddies?
He said his buddies. He said, my buddies are coming over. It's our two favorite review channels getting together, and we're going to watch from my house.
Like a Super Bowl.
That's right.
It's whiskey with the E and whiskey without the E.
Trying one thing here real quick, guys. Someone asked a request here. They can see a bigger picture of you guys. I'm trying to get that figured out really quick. I think I can do it.
Look at that. Pradeep's sipping on a 4 Oak Laphroaig 4 Oak. I think that's what he means by Laffy. I'm not sure. Ooh, Faircloth's got some Armagnac. That's the first time I pronounced that correctly in like a month and a half. That's usually Armagnac. It's like some kind of Klingon translation I'm pulling off.
All right, sweet. I think I got it. Now people can see a bigger picture of you guys. It's probably just a shade delayed, but there we go. All right, cool.
Yeah, usually, actually, most of the live streams will run about 30 seconds behind the actual feed. Well, 15 to 30 seconds, somewhere in there. So
cool. All right. Well, so yeah, you guys want to maybe give this a little try here?
You bet. I'm nosing it now.
So this is the 4-grain Colonel E.H. Taylor. Colonel E.H. Taylor had believed that you had to kind of hand pick the best grains. You know, when you wanted corn or you wanted wheat or you wanted rye or barley, sometimes he would hand pick or hand select what he thought were the best batches. And supposedly that's what they've done with the 4-grain here. It's corn, rye, wheat, and barley. And this goes back to the days of Colonel Taylor actually kind of hand picking the best batches.
Guess that's why they call it 4-grain, huh?
Yep. And it is bottled in bond as well, 50%.
100 proof, yep. What does it cost you guys around your area?
I believe retail was $79.
Cool. And then so, I don't know, for me on color, this one, I was mentioning this when I did my review. It's pretty copper to me. I don't know how your guys' look, but mine's real copper.
Yeah, I'd say it looks the same. It's got that real nice. Yeah, I'll go with your copper. Very nice.
And then the nose on this one is kind of interesting to me compared to, I mean, a lot of bourbons have that similar kind of nose, but for me, this one's got like this weird, different kind of like oak bomb in it. Not too much, but it's just a weird like they mentioned the tannins. Like you can taste more of that like bassy kind of oak on the nose for me at least. So that's a little different for me compared to like a normal Taylor where I get a lot more spice. What do you guys get?
I got my initial nose from like a wheated bourbon. I got cherries right off of the bat, which accompanies a lot of wheated bourbons. A lot of cinnamon, a lot of caramel, and dusty corn.
Yeah, I get your cherry. I get a real nice, like smooth, almost like a real nice sugar, like granulated sugar on the sweetness, along with that caramel in there. And you're right, the oak to me is really kind of muted and sweet. It's not as strong as I thought it would be.
I think Scott got it real good. That like dusty oak. I think that's kind of what I'm smelling. Like the I don't know, the older, maybe not older, but the the grainier oak, I guess, is what I'm smelling in there. And that's probably the barley messing with me a little bit because that's not normally something that all 4 of these grains being in a bottle. It's not always something that we're used to in bourbon. So especially with a lot going with high rye nowadays, seems like a lot of good bourbons are going with high rye now. So. You guys ready to try it?
This was one that really improved on me as it sat in the glass and I spent more time with it. And generally I can tell if I'm digging something by how many notes I'm pulling out of it. And it was one that as I sat there and kept sipping on it and gave it more and more time to open up, more notes kept coming into me.
Yeah, I agree. It's got it's a good noser. A lot of times I'll spend more time nosing a Scotch than I would a bourbon, because a bourbon I'll get that first instinct, but I'm not just stuck nosing it for a length of time. But this one's got a real pleasant nose. Some of that cherries, I think, is what you're talking about too. It gives that little bit of cherry along with that sweetness.
Yeah, it's got nice butterscotch and cherries on the palate. Creamy and buttery.
Oh, we're trying. Yep, we're gonna try. All right.
Oh yeah, sorry, I've been in for a couple steps.
Yeah, be in. And then a whiskey blooded triple cap says he wants you to describe your bottles in the background when you get a chance. We can get there in a bit. He's liking the look of your collection.
That's for who?
That'll be triple cap.
He wants you to describe your whiskey collection to the fans.
Okay.
But yeah,
we can definitely do that after we finish this one up. Between the two, maybe we'll take a quick second. It's a little hard to do because this camera's not great, but I'll just point out by hand.
Sure.
So when I taste this one, I mentioned this in my review that I just did today, and when I taste this one, I don't know about you guys, but up front, like, is it really sweet for you guys? Because I get a big, sweet vanilla, like the butterscotch you had mentioned. It's surprisingly sweeter than I thought it would be.
I've gotten both cotton candy, sugar sweetness, and the candy corn.
Yeah, I mentioned that too in my review. Candy corn is a perfect way to describe this. I kind of like pictured it mentally as like this big piece of oak wrapped in like candy corn and sugar and caramel. And I think that the sugar end of this, it's really, for me, like really sugary. Definitely a lot of that candy corn taste, which is kind of unique because you get that a little bit in bourbon, but then spice usually kind of plays back in. But this one is a little more overall. I think I would use the amateur word, I guess, the smooth. It really is. It doesn't have a bad bite to it with this one. So
yeah, it's good. The candy corn's kind of got that waxy sweetness is kind of what I pick up.
Yeah, and it just stays there the whole time, which is pretty amazing to taste that candy corn taste the whole way through. At least for me, it follows. It's sweet in the beginning. It's sweet when the oak sets in, and then a little bit of burn at the end. And I always get with Taylor products. I don't know if you guys get this, but in the finish for me, I always get this like tobacco, like pepper, like clove pepper finish, and I just get a little bit of that, not quite as much as the other Taylor products.
I would agree. Just a very slight rye finish coming through to make that spiciness, I think.
You bet.
I'd be interested to see what someone new to whiskey would think of this bottle, and see if they'd really like it or if it's too much going on.
This was one, as I sat down with it at first, when I opened it and started sipping, I thought, that's about an 88, 89 coming in. It's good. But then, like I say, as I sat there and it opened up and I spent more and more time with it, on our review, I gave it a 92. Bart was a little lower, still good. Bart's a harder scorer, a harder grader than I am.
I don't even remember. Where was that? Was it 87, 88?
I think you ended 89 is what you gave it.
Yeah, for me, I think for bourbon, this is really like if this was still priced, in a way that was easy to pick it up, and it's not, unfortunately, now. But I think this is an awesome bourbon, like sipping bourbon. Like there's sometimes where I want like a really big like rye bite, or if I'm really like feeling for spicy, I might reach for like a high proof wild turkey. But for me, this is a really nice, like any night kind of sipping bourbon. I mean, it's got that sugar bomb to it. I mean, it really is, as you had mentioned, that sugary candy corn, and it's just really gentle and it kind of rocks you to sleep. And I think it's perfect for the proof. I mean, we could, I don't know if you guys are like this, but I've gotten more into cask and barrel strengths lately. So, but it's good for the proof.
Definitely.
If you're looking for something gentle, it's really good, really good.
I've got in my notes, I actually spent quite a bit of time with it neat before I even added water. It was so good even at the 50% right out of the bottle. Now, let me ask you this, though. So in the spring, March or April, they're supposed to release another batch of this. Would you buy it again?
Yeah, if I can get it for the right price, not for the price that things are going for now for this. I mean, I think we talked about this in our little introduction earlier, but in Michigan, where I'm at, the state sets a minimum price, and the stores can charge whatever they want for it. And it's a pretty competitive market near Ann Arbor where I am, so it's hard to find stuff. If I was to try to find this today before the new batch, I'd probably be paying like $200 for it. And I don't know if I'd buy another bottle at $200. That's a tough thing for me to say. So, but if I could pick it up sub $125, yeah, I would actually for sure buy another bottle. Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. If I come the spring, if I see it on the shelf, I would definitely pick up another bottle. So
is that how it is for you guys? Do you guys do you have state set pricing, or can places charge whatever they want for stuff?
Yeah, they can charge whatever they want. The liquor store that we frequent the most and work with, they give us some breaks. And they're usually retail, maybe $5 higher, not much. If this was on the shelf over there, it's probably $89.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would pay MSRP for it. I wouldn't pay over $100 for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, I think this at 100 or less, I think.
I'd go one quarter. I'll see. I'm raising you 25.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
I hear 150, 150, 150, 150.
No.
Barto, give me 150.
I think 150 is getting to that price where, I guess if I really needed it, or if I ran out of this and had none left, then I would maybe pay that. But I've already got this one. I've got one backup that I bought, and so I'd be hard pressed to pay, I think, more than 100 for it just right now. But if I ran out and I was really wanting to show this bottle to someone, I might pay a little more. Like I said, I think this is a really good beginner one. I think a lot of beginners would really like this because of all the sugar, all that candy corn taste. I think it would taste well with someone just getting into it. And if you had friends over and they're like, "Hey, you do the whiskey thing, right?" And they're like, "Well, what can you have me try that I'll really like?" I think this is a bottle I'd pull out.
Bart likes to give them barrel proof, burn their throat stuff.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so
that'll be his explanation.
You go straight for the bathroom moonshine, huh?
Right. Yeah, Scott will give him like a bottom shelf $10 rock gut and tell him, "Try this bourbon and see what you think."
You can't give him benchmark, Scott. That's just not fair when you have company over. Benchmark is not what you should be giving to your guests.
Probably the best critique of what I had on my beginner whiskeys I did here was that the only way my list is good is if I'm there or someone knowledgeable is there to walk someone through the list. My list is kind of gets progressively complex. Would you say, Scott?
I was looking at comments. I didn't even hear, but yeah, I'll agree with you. Yes.
You need to watch comments more often. Just go, yeah, yes.
Yeah, I tried to get your chats open, but I can't see them. But I can kind of see them scrolling through on. I opened your channel to put it in the background. So
okay.
So I see a couple of them rolling through, and a couple of people I think have already made fun of me for basically only reviewing bourbon. So thank you, Scotch Test Dummy fans. I'm glad I'm here to help.
That's all right. That's all right. Sooner or later, you'll start to branch out. We started with just Scotch.
Well, I was telling him. I don't have a lot, but I have a couple good things. I started with the non-peateds, like the Glenmorangies and a couple of the Glenlivets, and I just now gotten into some of the peateds, and it's definitely opening some stuff up for me. I'm actually excited to try this triple wood again with someone else because I've never tried it with anyone else, so I'm kind of interested to see if I'm even in the right realm of what you guys think, if this is a bottle that I should be buying again or not. So.
I just have to say, where's it at? Oh, Whiskey Watch is questioning me. I would go 125 for the 4 grain.
I saw Claire got your quote in the background.
We've had a few.
Yeah, I'm sure we did. And then Dan E threw out 44 Magnum. Boom. Heavy stick, baby. I walk with a big stick.
So,
right,
is it the whiskey of the year? That's the question, right? Is it the world whiskey of the year to you guys?
It's good. There's got to be something better, though. I mean, it's
bourbon of the year, maybe.
It's good. Maybe, yeah, maybe a little bit closer there.
Yeah.
I would have to think. I don't know what all has come out this year or what. And I'm sure some suggestions will start rolling in here. I'm trying to think of this year what we've done that stands out bourbon wise. Bart, anything coming to the top of your head?
Oh boy. See, if I think on just in regards of what's come out, for Murray's Bible, that's when I start thinking, well, what year did this come out, or did we buy it, but it really came out in 2016? So I can't really judge year to year. That's why even on our own list, at the beginning of the new year, so the beginning of 2018, we do a top 5 of what we tried in 2017 or the year prior. That's really the only way I can do it.
What about
it's good.
Other Taylor products? What have you guys tried else from Taylor?
Oh boy, what is
it?
The
small batch, and we've had samples of the barrel proof, and that's it.
Okay, cool.
Now we have the single barrel and the rye all on the shelves here. We just never picked them up.
Yeah, I haven't tried the rye. I've got it in the back there, and single barrel is single barrel. It's hit or miss. The small batch is more consistent. So.
All right, I'm trying to reply to comments here at the same time.
Cool. You guys did you finish that one? Can't see your.
Almost. Now, for you, so is this in your top 10 bourbons of the year, or is it higher than that, or where does it sit?
No, yeah, it definitely is. I like that. I like the so for Scotch Test Dummies fans that maybe don't go into bourbon as much, if you see a 4-grain out there, I'd pick that up. Old Forester's 1920. I really like that this year. The birthday bourbon this year is really good. Old Forester birthday bourbon is actually good this year. You can see kind of one on my shelf here, but a lot of stores are getting these Knob Creek store pick single barrels, and some of them are really fantastic. So those are good. So yeah, that's kind of the newer stuff I'm seeing out here. The new Elijah Craig barrel proofs. You guys probably know this, and I think a lot of bourbon fans are. I'm a huge Elijah Craig fan. That's the whole bottom half of my shelf down there is all Elijah Craig stuff.
Amen, brother.
Good man. Preach it.
Yeah. So the new barrel proofs, the batch B, the
B517.
Yeah, that's fantastic. The 127 proof is pretty good. If I was, forced to buy one, I'd buy that batch B, the one Scott mentioned. So that's on my top one of my top ones for the year.
Here's one of the best ones though, the 69.7, and this is the last. I've got a couple bottles of the 68 percenters. This is the last of my 69.7. It's about gone.
That's a good one.
What is that one? Is that 140 point? What is that?
139.4.
139.
Yeah. Our guitarist old Shakes Pennington about drained mine dead.
I have a 136 that I haven't opened, old style bottle. I'm going to be sad the day that's gone. I love those old ones. I mean, they're still the same thing, but it just feel like the first Elijah Craig barrel proof I had was probably 4 years ago, and I wish I would have bought more of them, and they were just fantastic back then.
Now I can't remember. I can't remember who asked, but somebody wanted to know what do we mean by peated Isla's. So Scotch that comes from Isla is not always, but almost all of them use a peat moss to smoke the barley, which imparts a heavy, earthy smoke to the whiskey. And so when we say peated, that's what we're talking about. It's usually real smoky, ashy, creosote, all through there, even tarry sometimes. A lot of people, when I was brand new to whiskey, I did not like peated.
Yeah,
it took me longer to warm up, Bart, than you. You grabbed on and started running early on. It took me a while. I resisted. I finally started coming over, and then full swing now. But I still prefer a sherried whiskey over peated.
You do,
but there's some damn good peated ones out there.
Oh yeah,
and we're fixing to do one. Laphroaig.
Bam.
Triple wood.
Trip wood, baby. Trip wood. And the background, got a Port Charlotte Scottish barley back here, but we won't be touching that tonight.
I watched a video or two of you guys from a couple of years ago, like maybe about a year ago, and I think, Scott, you were not into the Scotch yet, or maybe it was about a year and a half ago. So
yep, that might have been when we were doing the Laphroaig shootout.
Yeah.
No, it was Laphroaig Ardbeg 10. I think.
Oh, there you go. That's one of our most popular videos right there.
Yeah,
that's the verses, baby. They battle.
All right, so I'm gonna grab mine. For real quick, while you guys are pouring, so for whoever asked, this is just a part of my collection. Most of it's in the basement. This is my office, but I just picked that up, and I was too lazy to take it downstairs. So in the barrel, there's all of the Taylors except for the, I think I don't have the cured oak. The first row is Old Foresters, the whole line except for a couple of the cheaper ones, and the birthday bourbon, and then down below I have Elijah Craig 1823, a little grenade that they sold at the gift shop, and then a bunch of barrel proofs and a 12-year age statement one. And then on the side, the only things I'm overly proud about, really, I have a couple Blanton's Golds, a bunch of High Wests, and some of those Kentucky Owls. So other than that, it's pretty much probably the stuff most of you guys have at home. That's a great part about bourbon, is that you don't got to spend, $500 to get a good bottle. So that's my collection.
Well, unless Jim Murray calls it the whiskey of the year.
Then you're going to have trouble finding it. Let me go grab my Laphroaig.
Or if it's got Pappy in front of it.
Yeah, there you go. Now, I will say Northern Harvest Rye stayed cheap even after he listed at number 1.
I think they only made about 14 million bottles of it. That might have something to do with it.
That's right. That's right. I think it even got cheaper. Now, I loved it, but go ahead. You got the Tripwood there.
Yep. So, I guess we'll move on to this one. So, yeah, the triple wood. So, I kind of wanted to try that 10-year to compare it, but I've already had a good amount of sampling out of this one, and I've liked it so far. So,
now Claire is asking, do you have one of the Tornado E.H. Taylors?
Oh, no, I do not. Those go for, I've never seen one in Michigan, even when someone stockpiling it. I've never even seen a friend with one. And from what I see, they're going for over 1,000 to 2,000.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they're supposed to be good. I think it's more the story.
Marketing.
Yeah. And just the limited. I mean, there was only so many bottles of it. It's pretty rare. So, yeah, I mean, it's an E.H. Taylor small batch, isn't it? It survived.
Their stuff, from what I understand, their stuff that was sitting in warehouse. They were just, aging for whatever they were going to do with it, but it was just regular Taylor, and made it through. So
yeah, it survived. It survived the tornado and then was exposed to the elements for a little while in the barrel.
Yep.
And
yeah, I think it sat in the sun a little bit, they said.
Boom. That sounds like Scott.
Yeah.
Survived the tornado, sat in the sun for a little bit, kind of hung out in the elements. Bam. That should be called like the Scott model.
The other thing for your fan that asked, so supposedly, I've never had it, even can't find it at a bar, but supposedly the cured oak, a lot of people say is better than any of the Pappies. So if you ever get a chance to try that cured oak, if you're at a bar, you can grab a sample somewhere or just see a bottle randomly. A lot of people say it's better than Pappy. But I mean, it's different, obviously, but a lot of people say they'd prefer it over that.
So, okay, moving into the Laphroaig triple wood.
Yes.
Triple wood, it's been in former bourbon barrels, then quarter casks, and then European oak sherry casks.
Like a traveling sailor.
Bottled at 48% ABV.
Look at that.
Triple matured for peat, oak, and subtle sweetness.
That's good.
Not chill filtered. Does Laphroaig usually chill filter? Do you guys know?
Oh, boy.
For the price, I would assume they're not.
I don't think they do. I'm looking at a cask strength. I mean, they don't proclaim it, I don't think, on here, but I'd have to read and look. I get a little bit, like a hint of that brine, that seashore.
Ooh, yeah.
I love that. That's good.
Big blast of brininess on it and peat.
It's like a wave breaking.
You guys probably hear this a lot with newer Scotch drinkers, but I get a lot of metal, like a burnt metal.
Mm.
Iodine, would it be?
Yep.
Yep, a little bit of that.
Yep. You get a little iodine.
Kind of like a subtle campfire for me too. Some of that smoke, a little subtle campfire there. I mean, that's what's got me so excited about Scotch is you guys. I don't know how it is in your market, but no one cares about Scotch around here. So I can walk in and buy a bottle of pretty much anything Scotch. Maybe not the super rare stuff, but I can buy pretty much everything. Whereas bourbon, it's impossible to find. So I'm actually excited to get more into Scotch and see what I can find out there because I mean the nose on this, it's just complex. I mean it's so complex. It hits so many more different points than bourbon usually does.
I can't believe the Michiganites are not caring about Scotch.
They like it. Just they're bourbon heads.
Well, we got a couple fans up there, Amy and Amy's husband.
That's true.
Big Scotch fans.
Yeah, they send us chips from the local Michigan area.
Areola, what'd you say?
Area, I don't know. Yeah, what part of Michigan? I had a buddy from Michigan, and the hold up the hand and point where you're at tells us a lot.
Detroit. There, so like Detroit. There.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So Ann Arbor, University of Michigan, supposedly good football team. That's where I went to school, and we're real close to Ann Arbor.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now I will tell you, and I told you when we just did our test run, at first and for quite a while, I had assumed you were deep in the South. I thought you were in bourbon territory as much of the good bottles as you was getting and reviewing. It surprised me when I found out you was in Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I get lucky, but I mean, I'm missing some really important bottles from my collection. I've never found a Buffalo Trace antique collection before, and if I do, I'm sending you guys a sample and we'll try it together. But I've never found one, so I've never gotten one of those. I've never gotten any Pappy or Old Rip or any of that. But I also got into it, probably about a year before it really went wild. 2010, I got into it. And then 2012 is, I think, when I started the channel. 14, I started the channel. And then it was up and running. And since then, it's been really hard. And when I first started, I did what most normal people do. Like, I saw those more expensive bottles, and I never bought them, thinking, like, I don't know if I'm even going to like it. And looking back at it now, back then, you could, pretty much pick up any of these Taylors off of a shelf anywhere. So.
Well, I think when you first get started, you're always like, wow, a $30 bottle, that's expensive.
Yeah.
I'll never spend $50 on a bottle. And before you know it, you're up to I'll never spend $100 on a bottle. And then it's $500.
And then you get to the point like me where you're like, I'll buy a bottle just to finish off this little like art display that I've got back there. It's like I don't even plan on opening it, but I have 6 of the 7 different ones that they make, and I just want it to look cool. Like,
you got to complete the collection.
Yeah, so that's the fun part. Like that bottle of birthday bourbon that I have down there, I only bought it because I have pretty much most of the other ones. And then I see people in like the groups that I'm in on Facebook and stuff, and they've got the birthday bourbons all the way back to like 2009, and it just shocks me, and it's a scary road to go down, but it's cool at the same time. There's a lot of people getting into it right now, and when people come over and they know that that's what you're into, and they want to go through your collection, it's just like any other collection. If someone else shows interest in it, it can be a really cool thing to show off. So,
you bet.
So yeah, I'm gonna give this one a try. So it's been, I don't know, probably a couple weeks since I've tried this one last.
Yeah, somebody asked exactly how peated this is. The nose is not overly peated. It's not climbing out, punching you in the face. It's more of that brine sea salt.
And I get a good amount of sweetness with this. It's probably the bourbon barrel, I'm guessing, that's doing it. But compared to like the Laphroaig, what's the cheaper one? Is it the quarter cask? Is it
quarter cask is cheap. The Laphroaig straight 10 is really inexpensive too.
That should be the cheapest of their lineup. I think the quarter cask usually comes, or at least in our area, the 10 would be the bottom end or the entry of the Laphroaigs.
So I haven't tried the 10. I've tried the quarter at a bar before, and I remember that not being nearly as sweet as what this is. It's not really all that sweet, but up front I do get some sweetness.
A quarter cask is just all peat and slap you around 10 times. You wake up naked in the street and you don't even remember what your mom's name is.
Yeah, so for me in my area, I told Scott this earlier, the quarter cask is cheaper than the 10. The 10 I think goes for 80.
Holy.
Yeah. So that's fun. But maybe that's just sought after. I'm not sure. But yeah, I do really like this. Like when I taste it, it's surprising how much different the taste is than the nose, and I think all those 3 woods really throw you off a little bit. But when I taste it, I get the like bourbon sweetness up front, but the middle of this is really where I think it shines. It's got a lot of those, like I get a little of that campfire, a little of that smoke, a little bit of that like metal, and that like meaty, like kind of like bacony, salty taste in the middle, and that really makes me happy. So
yeah, it's got that savoriness in there with that salted, almost like a salted meat. You're right.
Now I'm going to show you, before we get done, I talked to Dave beforehand about a cheat or a hack to turn this Laphroaig into the lore. So after we get done looking at this here, give it a few more minutes, I'm going to show, this was showed to us by Jesse. Bart, you know what I'm talking about? Something we can add to this, just a few drops that almost imitates that rich, full sherry sweetness of the lore, which Dave was looking for and couldn't get for the show.
Actually, well, we can do that whenever you guys want, but I do have that ready. So,
all right. Well, that cheat that I'm talking about, and it was showed to us by Jesse. The lore, the Ardbeg Dark Cove are heavily peated whiskeys that have also been sherry casked. And to me, both the lore and the Dark Cove are delicious. They're both expensive. To imitate that, you can take a Laphroaig 10. We're going to try it with the Laphroaig Triple Wood here, and we're going to add just a few drops of a barrel-proof bourbon.
I'm in. Oh, got my cord. I will add, so mine might throw us off a little bit because I'm adding something a little more rye-based, but I will add a single barrel shiny sticker. Single barrel strength, 57.4% Four Roses.
Okay. And what happens is the high ABV and the sweetness of the bourbon, and we've done this, and it comes out surprisingly similar to the lore or the Dark Cove, either one. Bart, you got something you're going to add? Do you want to?
No.
You're not driving anywhere.
I know. My Elijah Craig barrel proof, it must enter my mouth pure.
So, here's a funny thing that you guys might see or agree on. I've had Bert, right?
Bart.
You're good.
Yes. Are the third person now to tell me that's a total Scotch fan, that they love Elijah Craig barrel proof, but that they don't really like a lot of other bourbons. I wonder why that is.
It is powerful and present all at the same time. It is the bourbon that literally, when I tried it, I went, wow. And we nicknamed it the bottle of wow. And it's just strength. It's like an American strength that comes in. It's so flavorful, so powerful, spicy. You can bring it down. You can play with it. You can, you can just do so much with it and check all the flavors as you take the ABV down. It's just a very fun and flavorful whiskey.
Yeah. The spice on it's pretty amazing to me.
It is.
I'll tell you what it is, because even if you go back and you look at the majority of bourbons we had done leading up to Elijah Craig barrel proof, and I think when you look, say, a scale of 1 to 100, most bourbons are in that 40 to 60 range.
Right.
9 out of 10 bourbons fall right in the middle. Very few bring something to the table that makes them stand out. And the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof was probably the first one that we had that really stood up and yelled, "Hey, look at me. I'm over here. I'm different, and I'm what bourbon should be."
It kind of comes up, slaps you in the face, and says, "You want more of that?" And you're like, "Yes, I do." It's like a red-haired girl.
Are you married to a redhead?
I'm not, but I was at one point.
Okay. There you go.
Sometime you can check the show and you'll get the Cliff Notes story from Scott on what happened in the first wedding to the redhead. The short answer is she said, "Hey, we're moving to Kansas City." And I said, or she said, "Hey, I got a job in Kansas City." And I said, "When are we moving?" And what'd she say, Scott?
She said, "We ain't."
Oh, see that? And then you break out a bottle at that point in time. No, that was the redhead. Now I'm married to a gal from Belgium. That's not true. She's Puerto Rican. That was for Scott. He was going to chime in at any point, I was sure.
So you guys try this with the mix? Yeah, or that's right. Scott, you're just doing this with me. So let's
Yep.
I changed mine a little bit. So let's see how it changed.
Now it really takes probably a teaspoon maybe of the barrel proof, and I just added a few drops. I'm actually going to throw just a little bit more in there.
Yeah, I just went by eye. I poured in probably about a teaspoon, and I'm trying to move it around so it does what it's supposed to do a little bit quicker.
This was a good hack, and I found it really surprising. And like I say, it really ups the sweetness of the Laphroaig.
I've mixed a couple High West products together before, and mostly just bourbons, but it had some cool effects to it. I mixed a Boo Rye with a double rye, and it was really cool. It just added some cool stuff to it. So I don't know. That's a whole nother thing. I mean, I have an infinity bottle. I don't know if you guys have caught on to the infinity bottle, but you pour something in kind of that you think might work at the end of every bottle. So there's like 2 different Knob Creeks and Elijah Craig, some kind of rye, I can't remember, Henry McKenna in there right now. And so every time you pour something in it changes it a little bit. And sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. But that's kind of like what we're doing here. We're changing the composition of the whiskey.
And I'll say it, just from the sip I just took, boom, it's there. That's nice.
Wow.
And Jesse is tuning in. I hadn't seen him commenting, but he does say that this hack saves you some money.
So I mentioned I tried a sample of Lore, and I'm very surprised that it did this to it. So Lore's got to be higher strength, right? Is that part of what I'm tasting, that Lore is higher strength than Triple Wood?
Actually, no, I'm looking at 48%. It's the same.
I wonder why. But it kind of dumbed something down in there. Like it dumbed some of the meat taste, I think. And for me, it brought out some more of the smoke. Like the very end, I get a lot more like dry smoke, like really dry, salty smoke. And I remember that when I tried the Lore, I really loved all of that like dry, salty smoke at the end. And I'm mad I couldn't find another bottle of Lore. Because the only time I tried it was when a friend brought it over, and I'm mad I couldn't find any because I really loved it. So,
but still, we still see it's still on the shelves here. So probably if you look around, I think you would be able to find it.
So that or the Dark Cove.
The Dark Cove is Ardbegs. It was each year they do it's for is it for the Phage Isle?
For the committee or whatever, or is that something different?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's for the Phage Isle, which is like a big island festival they have each year, and each year they do a release, and they have Ardbeg has a committee that puts one together each year.
Okay.
Now the committee release is generally a higher proof. There's an Ardbeg Dark Cove committee release, and there's an Ardbeg Dark Cove non-committee release.
Surprisingly different too.
Not much, really, just ABV. I mean, and that ABV does bring a little bit more flavor to the table. but both delicious.
So
And
if you had to put because a lot of people when they talk about the lore seem to also talk about the Ardbeg, not just the Dark Cove, but like the Ardbeg like slightly
Oogidong.
higher. Yeah. So which one would you guys choose between the two? If you let's just say between Dark Cove and lore, which one strikes you better?
Dark Cove, baby.
Really? And what do those run near you guys? I think they're about 100 here.
120, 130 if you can find them. They're long gone from our area.
Right. Yeah, I think they're tough to find here too.
Yeah, I'm a Laphroaig fanboy, but the Ardbeg Dark Cove CR blew my socks off.
Good to know.
Yeah, I would say initial impression, the Dark Cove probably takes the lore. I'd have to go side by side to see, and it probably does stand out above the lore as well.
Yeah, we're looking at a couple like peated shootouts, and I've done a couple little tests, so nothing to tease, but whoo, Dark Cove.
Good. Gonna have to look for it. I remember seeing a lot of them around. Actually, there was a market here that got a whole allocation, and they did an opening with it, and they had an Ardbeg day, which I don't know if they do near you guys, but every once in a while, they might pick a party store or a market, and then the Ardbeg reps will come in, and that was one thing. If you bought a ticket to the event, you could buy one bottle of that. And I remember a lot of people going, but I didn't go.
Wow. We got a suggestion from Tom R. as well that says to tell you about the Compass Box Peat Monster, and that is what converted me into being a peat head.
And to the Compass Box line as well. Compass Box, Dave, if you don't know, are blends. John Glazer started Compass Box. Yeah, and he does fabulous blends, different ones. But
so I have
start with
two that I like. I have the Flaming Heart from 15.
Nice.
And then I have the Not a Luxury Whiskey, also I believe from 15.
Maybe, yeah.
And so this is Not a Luxury Whiskey is way more expensive, but I prefer the Flaming Heart. It's really, really nice, really complex.
Yeah, the Flaming Heart is all peat, and the Not a Luxury Whiskey is sherry.
Yeah, and it's got a grain whiskey in there too, so it's a little sweeter. It's a little more like bourbon. So but I do like that Flaming Heart a lot. I'm actually hoping that we can get some more of that. I've gone through most of that bottle. It's one of my favorite, blendeds that I've had. But I don't like a lot of the other ones. I don't like the. I didn't like the
Circus
King Street one. I didn't like that one nearly as much. Some of their cheaper stuff.
That's one of their entry bottles. Now I will tell you though, pick up the Lost Blend if you can find it. It's a little over 100. Very well peated as well, and the Peat Monster that Bart recommends. Peat Monster is one of their core ranges. Lost Blend is one of the special releases that they did, and you should be able to still find it around as well if you look.
So why I opened up your window a little more, Scott. Why is that a Broncos head back there? A Broncos hat?
Yes.
So I haven't picked that up from the channel. I watched like 10 videos, but they were just kind of random. So did you grow up there?
I am from Northwest Kansas, which is closer to Denver than it is Kansas City.
Okay.
And my grandma lived in Greeley, Colorado, which is where the Broncos had their spring camp for years, and we used to go out and watch them practice. So I grew up in the 70s watching the Broncos. Bart is from Denver, Colorado area. So.
Oh, really?
Yep. Yeah, I grew up in the mountains, a little town called Evergreen. And then as soon as I could, I moved downtown Denver and suburb Littleton just because for some reason I didn't want to live in the beautiful mountains. I wanted to live in a city.
Gotcha. Well, cool. Are they good this year? I don't watch much football.
They started good. They started good, and they've gone into the tank.
Yeah, there you go. It's like the Lions.
Have you seen the video on YouTube, Dave, for Pure Michigan and why we are Detroit Lions fans?
No.
Oh.
It sounds like it's a parody video.
Yes, it is. Yeah. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, watching them play is sometimes pretty funny too. So
Well, the
Actually,
best
they're doing-
line is that everybody's wearing a 20-year-old jersey for Sanders.
Hey, we had a couple good players. That's all that matters. So yeah, I'm glad you showed me this trick for this. I still like the regular one. It's different. It's cool that you can change it like that. I'm gonna try it maybe with a couple other barrel proofs too. So
Yeah, really, it came up from Jesse just with like the Laphroaig 10 or the Ardbeg 10, and nothing that, because like this triple wood already has some sweetness in it from the bourbon barrels and the sherry barrels that it's been in.
yeah.
But if you take just like the standard Laphroaig 10 that's just peat, well, the Laphroaig 10 is a good peat and a nice citrus sweetness as well. But when you add that like me with the Elijah Craig barrel proof in there, it really just ups the sweetness factor and really simulates that sherry sweetness that you'll get in a heavy peated whiskey.
So I'm pulling up your guys' stream right now. There we go. So now I can see you guys. So it looks like you guys have 64 people watching you. So I was gonna say I usually like to try to do these for about an hour. So we got about 5-10 minutes left. You maybe want to do some questions. Maybe if your viewers have questions for me, or if they have questions just for you. You guys want to do some viewer questions real quick?
Sounds good to me. We got a lot of football comments going on right now.
And there's baseball on right now too, I think, which is probably not the greatest, but yeah.
Oh, I know what we need to do, Bart. We need to do our tailored milestones giveaway.
Ooh, yeah, you do need. Yeah, let's do that.
Hold up. You want Siri to choose our number?
Yeah. Grab Siri and have her randomly. Didn't you have a lot of people put in for that contest?
I'm pulling it up right now. We gave away tailored milestone glasses. They are a kind of a rocks glass and a Glencairn glass hybrid. A Glencairn on steroids.
Yeah, I prefer to say it's like a 7-month pregnant Glencairn.
So we had 133 people register for those glasses.
Wow.
So we're going to ask Siri for a random number here between 1 and 133. Actually, we'll go between 0 and 134.
What if it says 0?
Choose a random number. Oh, hold on. You messed me up there.
Yeah.
Then if it says 0, we'll do it again, but we know it's going in between.
Wow.
Choose a random number between 0 and 134.
The answer is 15.
15?
Did you hear it? Yeah, it was kind of low. I didn't have my volume up very high. It was 15.
You can say between 1 and 134. It'll do that.
Thank you for that information.
I'm just saying, I don't know why you're using 0. If it says 0, you'll be like, well, we're going to do it again.
I'd draw again. 15, Ryan Creamer. I don't know if you can see it.
No, but we
Washing out. Rian Creamer, RIAN CREAMER. We'll send you a message and we'll get your address and we'll get you a free set of the tailored milestone glasses coming your way.
Boom.
Go comments.
Yeah. They're all laughing about number 15 and who won, and somebody, and Jesse was robbed. The old aardvark was robbed.
Let's see who came close real quick. Who was that was 15. Number 14 was Jesse Page. Number 16 was Aqua Vitae.
Your channel has already invented the word creamed. They got creamed by Ryan Creamer.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty funny that it picked up.
Congrats, Creamer. See, I don't think Jesse Voisin's going to need it anyway. I hear the military's calling up pilots. I think he's going to be back in the uniform.
Yep, he's going to be back flying.
He's going to be flying. He thought he was done. Wrong.
Hey, Dave, Tom R. is asking on your feed, do you have a Patreon?
Yeah, I was just actually looking at that. That's one of the things. I had like 2 or 3 things. I know we're running pretty close here, but I had 2 or 3 things that I wanted to ask you guys, and maybe ask joint channels and hit 2 audiences at once. So number 1, you guys set one up, right? You set up a Patreon account?
Yes.
We did.
Cool. And so, first of all, was that overly complicated to set up, or was it pretty easy?
Easy. If I can
Bart-
do it, it's easy.
That's what I'm gonna say. Bart did it, so it must have been easy.
Baby simple.
And so, viewers on both ends. So, how do you guys feel about? As you guys probably know, we don't really make any money from YouTube. Actually, in fact, I think my yearly total is about $50. So they don't really pay anything. And not that we need to be paid, but is there, the desire to contribute for certain events, whether that's, like viewer events or certain bottles, etc. So what do you guys feel about Patreon accounts? I don't know if any of your people have really jumped into that. So
Yeah, we love it. And Tom R just jumped in and gave us $10.
hey, there you go.
Little donation come in. Thanks, Tom R.
Oh, that's-
Now I'll tell you, we set up. Bart got the Patreon set up, and I think we went about a year with nothing.
We didn't plug it though. We didn't even tell anybody we had it.
I think we did it. I think we did it first, and then nothing was happening. We kind of gave up on it. We was about ready to pull the plug on it, and then Mark Pixler.
We did a topless show or something. And boom,
Mark-
it went off.
Mark Pixler came in. He was our first Patreon supporter, and
there was no toplessness. That was a joke.
that's our biggest help. Patreon is.
Cool.
I think we've got 46 or 47 Patreons now, patrons
47.
now.
Yeah, 47 patrons.
Oh, and Tom R I don't even know how I can claim this money, but Tom R also gave me Tom. Thank you, man.
It goes into your YouTube. It'll show up as your YouTube, your Google AdSense earnings.
Thank you so much. I don't know that I could even have that, but I do absolutely appreciate that. That is awesome.
That takes if you have over 1,000 subscribers, your super chat is turned on and people can donate during the live streams.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I just figured out all the AdSense stuff the other day. Like, really, for me, when I started this, I think I started a little bit before you guys. When did you guys start?
You were a little after us. We were October. We just had our 4-year anniversary. We started October of 13.
So when I started, I just did it as a video blog because I was getting into it, and I kind of was like, oh, I'll just upload stuff and whatever my friends and family will watch. And then next thing you know, I think I was at 1,000 subscribers in like the first 6 months, which was crazy. So
that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that everything's gotten like, to the point where people can support and stuff like that. The other question I was going to ask you guys, a lot of people in my chat ask me this, and I can do this in my area because I'm not well known. I don't know if you guys are very well known around town, but a lot of people ask me to try to do videos out and about. What do you guys think about that?
We have not been hit up for that.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me like, hey, go to a bar and like, shoot a video or whatever. And I don't know, number one, if I'm even allowed to do stuff like that, but a lot of people want to see kind of like out and about videos. So.
No, we've had some cool stuff. We had an owner of one of the bigger liquor stores who partners with some of the higher end restaurants say, hey, if you guys want to do a tasting or something unique, let me know. And we do weird stuff every once in a while. We're in the works. I won't say too much, but we're trying to come up with kind of a on the road show. We're calling it like Whiskey Run, where we could do Whiskey Run KC, Whiskey Run Denver, where we'll go hit a particular distillery and kind of make it a Cousin Shane's going to join us. Shakes Pennington's going to join us. So we'll do we're looking at doing a little bit of a live component and a pre-recorded component. And just our whole deal is making whiskey fun.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. A lot of, it seems like a lot of the distilleries are pretty okay with you doing some of the shooting, but I think it's all outside of the rick houses. I don't think once you get in there, you're really allowed to do any shooting, at least from what I've heard from other channels. So
we'll see. We're going to try to see what we can get done.
Very cool.
That's
all right,
our.
That was my two questions about Patreon. So
Cousin Shane is our vocalist, and Shakes Pennington, AKA Cousin Steve. He's actually Shakes Pennington is our guitarist. They provide some musical entertainment for our subscribers.
They are good. Our 12 hours of boom, they showed up and we did a little singing thing.
So who does all the editing?
On the live shows, luckily none. Otherwise, we usually split our editing about 50-50, but Scott's been picking up the lion's share the last 2 weeks.
Cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, we split it on the pre-recorded shows.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and then the live shows are nice because they just post.
Very cool. Well,
all right. Well, hey, we're a little over it. Just hit the hour mark. Do you want to keep going, look at some comments, or do you want to shut her down?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Whatever you guys. Shit, you guys are the old guys, so whatever you guys. If you guys got to get to bed, I know. Might be past your bedtime. But...
That's right. And
let's
if
do
I
some
had not taken,
questions.
Yeah, the Geritol kicked in. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, let's do some viewer questions. I'm gonna actually grab another glass, and then I'd love to do 10 minutes, 15 minutes of viewer questions. So I'm trying to pull your stream up to watch your viewer stuff, but it's not working on my phone, and I can't get it on stream. So let's do some viewer questions.
They'll almost talk to each other more than they'll talk to us. Although Claire's got some good stuff coming in. He called us old farts. We just got married. You're going to age decades in the next couple of years there, Claire.
And I'll continue on. I'm going to open up or keep going through this owl rye as we keep going here.
All right.
Let's talk about that real quick, because I got a sample of that from Claire arranged for me to get.
Yep.
And I said, well, at first I was like, well, what are those going for? And he said $130.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, what makes it $130? He's like, well, it's batch 1 from Kentucky Owl.
Yeah. People love their bourbon. So it's all sourced and mixed and done by, the name is escaping me right now. But I could Google it real quick.
Brown Foreman, I think.
Yeah, but the guy.
Claire says his beard's already turning gray, and then Whiskey Throttle says I'm scary. I'm too scary in person.
There we go. So it's good. I think you guys should try your sample if you haven't already. For sure.
Yeah, I did, and I just did a quick hitter, one of our quick hitter reviews, because it was a sample bottle that we got on it. At first, and now I'll tell you, at first I wasn't that impressed with it. It was good. It was a good rye. When I went back and I saved some of the sample for my quick hitter, it was better, and I had let it air 20 to 30 minutes beforehand. And it's still a good rye whiskey. I felt if I had paid $130, I think I would have been a little disappointed. I felt it was more maybe a $60, $70 bottle. And it really didn't feel like an 11-year-old either. It really reminded me of the Thomas H. Handy Sazerac rye, which is like a 6 or a 7-year-old rye, and a lot of cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, those kind of spices.
Yep.
But like I say, still good. It was still a good rye whiskey. Don't get me wrong. I don't know that it's worth $130.
So I think for me, it is very much like the High West Midwinter's Night Dram. It's almost, for me, almost an identical whiskey with a little less of the gingerbread baking. So for that, I absolutely love it. The price I don't love. I mean, trust me, you're paying for an age statement and that's it. But for the price, I don't love the price. But if I had to put them up against each other, I think I'd take the High West first, which is one of my favorite, more unique ryes. But it's like a dessert rye. It's not as much of a bitey, meaty rye. So for that, I'd say if someone was stuck in a pickle between the two at price points, get the High West first, and then maybe this after, and expect it to be really, mouth coating, oily rye, like baking spices, gingerbread, cookies. It's really it's a sweet rye. It's not a spicy rye. And
yes, I would agree.
That, then it's good. If you go into it thinking it's like a Pikesville, you guys had Pikesville before?
Love it.
Yeah. So if you go into it thinking it's like a hard bite you in the face rye, then you won't like it. And if you like straight ryes, it's not your bottle.
Pikesville is my number one, baby. Michter's Barrel Proof right behind that.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you, I went to, after the Kentucky Owl Rye, I went to a sample of the Michter's Toasted Barrel Rye, toasted finish. And I thought it was much better. I mean, not much better, but better.
So I've had both, and I've had the barrel strength rye, and I'll take the barrel strength rye of all of them. That's probably one of my favorite ryes.
Now we did a 16 bottle rye shootout, and of the 16, Bart chose the Pikesville rye, and I took the Michter's Barrel Strength, was my favorite. It was all blind, or kind of semi-blind. We had 4 in front of us at a time. We did brackets, and we knew which 4 was in front of us, but then we had blind samples of the 4, and we chose our favorite. And then it advanced to a championship.
It was good. After that, we advanced. When we did the bourbons, it was 100% double blind. We didn't know. We knew the 16, but we didn't know what 16 were in front of us.
Okay.
I would like to point out that Bart said the rye shootout was good. That's because we shot all 4 brackets in one day.
Yeah,
16 samples in one day is not good.
No, we had to take 5 days off.
They start to taste kind of similar by the end.
They didn't taste similar, but we were funnier about episode 3. I can tell you that. We were hitting on all cylinders episode 3.
One of the guys in my channel, I think it was more a comment than a question, but asked, Weller 12 in Southern California will set you back 140 and flies off the shelf. What's a guy to do? So in that, Weller 12, believe me, is probably one of my favorite like intermediate whiskeys, and probably for someone that's just getting into good whiskey, I think it's one of my favorites. But if you really cannot find it and you want to find something comparable, go for the 107. You should be able to find it. Stay away from the special reserve, but go for the Weller 107, the antique 107. And if you can't even find that, you should be able to find Larceny in your area. Now, Larceny is going to have a little bit more like peanut taste to it because of the maker, but try Larceny, and you should be able to find that for $40 in SoCal. So hope that helps.
Good. That is good. And I'm going to shout out to Stephen Connor's comment, enjoying a dram of Dark Cove CR by the fire. And I want to know if he's wrapped in a blanket. That's all I want to know there, Stephen.
If you were in the Ann Arbor, Michigan area, you would be wrapped in a couple blankets and by a very big fire, because I think it's 35 degrees out right now.
That is good.
Now, I'll tell you, go back to the Weller's 12. I like the Weller's 12. I've had it side by side with the Van Winkle 12 Lot B. I can't tell them apart. And what I hate, I found a bottle. I got a bottle of 12 the other day here. I had to pay $70 for it, and I hate that.
Yeah.
$35, $40. Come on, people. But the Van Winkle craze, and somebody commented out in California, this is $149, $140.
Yeah.
Of course, we had a buddy driving around grabbing them all. I think he found a store that had them for $46, and he emptied out everything they had.
Of what?
The Weller's 12.
Who? When?
Knowles.
Oh, really? Oh, that was a while back. Yeah.
It was like 3 months ago. He found me and said, "Hey, I found it at this store." I'm like, "Cool. I'll head down there." He's like, "I bought it all." I'm like, "What?" So that's why it's jacked up. He found a good deal and he scooped them all.
The problem with that was that one of the websites, I can't remember which one, started, and now they've all gone into it. And might even some YouTubers have jumped on it too. But when people call it, like poor man's Pappy, you mix that Weller 12 with Antique 107, it's supposed to mimic like a Pappy 15 or Pappy 20. And I've seen every different thing on it, but I think the general consensus is that it's not really all that close to that, and you're really ruining each bottle when you do that. The Pappy or the Weller 12 on its own is a phenomenal $50, $60, $70 whiskey, and you should just leave it alone. Don't mix it with other stuff, and try it as it's meant to be, because it is carefully selected at 12 years. So.
Yeah, and I like the 107 as well.
Yeah.
And you're getting 53.5% ABV there, and it's still the Weller weeded whiskey. And you can bring it down to whatever you want. And you can go into any store here where we are and find Antique 107.
Real quick question from a viewer. Has anyone tried, I think he posted this to yours too, because I think he's been watching both, but Slim Drew 23 said, has anyone used a 1 liter barrel to age their own whiskeys, and what have you tried? I tried it. My wife bought me one. I used a White Dog whiskey from a local distillery that usually has pretty good bourbon. I mean, it wasn't Kentucky, but I tried it and I aged it for 6 months, and I rotated it just like a big barrel, and it tasted like shit. So, so please, if you're gonna do your own stuff, what I would recommend if you're gonna do it is if you can find them. We can't find these in Michigan. Try to get some of the. I think you can buy it at the gift shops. Go to Buffalo Trace and grab one of their White Dogs or their White Dog whiskeys. I think they have 4 different white mash bills you can buy. So stick with the good stuff and buy the Buffalo Trace unaged whiskey. White Dog whiskey is unaged whiskey. So buy that if you guys are going to age your own stuff.
We have not tried that, so. And really, I don't have any ambitions to try it. I know some people are. It's very popular to get the little wood cask and age. Even take add a bottle. Well, we went to one of the whiskey clubs here in town, and they had their own cask, and I think they had added, was it Johnny Walker Red Label?
Yeah, I think they had a 5-gallon cask, and he bought a bunch of Johnny Walker Red and put it in there, and it made it taste like a young bourbon.
Yeah, Johnny Walker Red's pretty bad for me, so maybe other people feel differently about that, but I can't imagine it getting any better. I don't know.
It really tasted like a bourbon. It had that oaky kind of flavor to it, and it was already, I'm with you. I don't really drink Johnny Walker Red, but it smoothed it out, oaked it up, and nobody, when we tried it blind, was picking it out as a Scotch. It tasted like a younger, heavily oaked bourbon, which a lot of the bourbon guys liked.
All right, Dave. Hey, right at you here real quick. Best bourbon you've ever had?
I'm looking back here as if I have it here. I probably don't. I don't know. That's a really good one.
All right, let's say this: your house is on fire, and you can only grab one bottle behind you.
I'm going to say I think my best bottle is probably here, and the store picks are hard to say because there's so much. There's some store picks that I'd really like, but if I have to say like just best bottle is in like best that you guys could get to, not just being a store pick. And maybe it's because what I paid for it, but when I first opened, Tom R, thank you. When I first opened it, and that's what I just looked at, my Elijah Craig 23 was to die for. And after even a year of it being, I've had that bottle since, 4 years ago, I think, maybe. After 6 months, a year, it got worse. It got a lot worse. It got a lot woodier being opened. But Elijah Craig 23, the second it was opened, best bourbon I've ever tasted.
Nice.
If you like an oak bite, like a big oak bomb, but it had some really cool honey and caramel and vanilla flavors in it that I wouldn't expect from a really aged bourbon. And that Elijah Craig 23 was really good. And I have an Elijah Craig right now. I have one of these, an 18. And I am so excited to review this on the channel because I've never tried it before anywhere. And I think I'm going to like the 18 almost as much as I like the 23 because people say that 18 is like the sweet spot for Elijah Craig. So I'd probably grab both of those bottles. I wouldn't grab just one. I'd probably, leave my pets behind and I'd grab the whiskey instead. So.
Oh, people are mad at you now. Right now.
Yeah, I've had a sample of the Elijah Craig 18 and it was pretty good. Now I remember my nephew had to point out several years ago, probably even before we started reviewing, I think it was about 2010, he was in town and we were out at Groves here in town and he bought a bottle of Elijah Craig 15 and it was $55, or Elijah Craig 18 and it was $55.
State minimum pricing here is 80 or 89. and you find it for about 130, which isn't that bad of a markup. A lot of people don't love the 18, but I think that's only because the 12-year was so good when it was around. So I think the 18 is becoming more of a popular product now that the average 12-year is about 8 years old. Or the new Elijah Craig small batch is averaging about 8 to 9 years old. So I think that a lot of people are liking this 18 more.
Well, and I think the 18-year-old though hits that point of not becoming over oaked. I've seen some people on the 23 think it's been in the cask too long, and that the 18-year-old is just right at that sweet spot.
I posted something a while back. I think you guys would both like this, and it was from Buffalo Trace. I will try to link you. If I can't get it now, I'll get it off stream. But there's a chart about what happens to bourbon as it sits in a barrel and what happens with the age and what tastes come out from that. And I think you guys should check that out. It's really cool. But it looks like, a lot of the stuff says that somewhere around 12 to 13 years is truly the sweet spot for bourbon. So it was interesting to see.
Bart likes them young. He likes a 8-year-old.
Only when they're peated, baby. 8-year-old peats are badass. Look at that Lagavulin 8. Hello.
You should go buy one.
8-year-old peats.
Yeah, I won't find it right now, but I'll link it to you guys.
Try the Ardbeg Arai. What is that? Arai Beast? Wow, I can't pronounce. I'm usually good at pronouncing things.
Yeah.
The Ardbeg Arai Beast.
Huh?
I don't know. Read the comments from Stephen Connor. He
says,
like the DCCR. I need to try the other Ardbeg.
I've never even heard of that one.
Hopefully it's brand new and I can still get it.
The way that sounds, that's an older version.
I know. A little tear came down.
Dave, how did you get into whiskey?
Las Vegas. Yep. Went to Las Vegas. And I went with someone that was like, hey, let's try. No. Yeah. It was Las Vegas. I can't remember what bar we went to. It was in the Cosmopolitan. We stayed in the Cosmopolitan. We went to a bar, and they had a cool, speakeasy entry. And actually, I do remember the bar. It was called Rose Rabbit Live, and it was at the Cosmopolitan. Pretty trendy name. But you go in, there's a jazz band. So you go in through 4 different doors, and you can kind of tell it's a restaurant when you walk in, but you go through all these special doors. And then you get there, there's a jazz band in the corner, and they had everything that you can ever have. And someone made me try a couple things, and I was like, you know what? I don't hate this. Normally, I was kind of more of a beer guy, more of a mixed drink kind of guy, and so I tried a couple, and I think what got me really hooked, if I remember correctly, that was when I tried, and now I hate it, but it was when I first tried Willet Pot Still, and it was actually, for me, it was pretty good back then, and so I tried Willet Pot Still, really got into a lot of different things after that. That's when my first bottle of Blanton's I bought a month after that, and that was a great thing to try right coming out of the gate was Blanton's. So I tried some Blanton's, I tried some Eagle Rare 10, and just went from there. So yeah, Las Vegas was it for me, and I'd recommend checking that bar out if you guys ever go there. It's kind of trendy and wear nice clothes if you go there, but it was in the Cosmo, and it was fantastic. So, and if you guys I don't know if you guys ever make it out more this way, but there's a bar in Chicago called Delilah's, and you can try literally anything you want to try. And I've been there a couple times too, and that's definitely
like a punk rock bar.
Yep, that's the only place that I've tried George T. Stagg. I've never been able to find a bottle. I see one creeping back there, Scott, but I've never been able to try one, and I tried it there, and damn, I really wish I had a couple of those. So
now, 2 things. Delilah's Compass Box had a Delilah's blend that they did in conjunction with the owner of Delilah's bar.
No
if you didn't
way.
know that.
It is that popular? I didn't even know.
Yeah. And the Stags, I've had here's my 16. I've got about 4 or 5 ounces left of it.
And here comes the baby right here. That's the baby.
That's a brand new one.
Ooh.
What's the proofs on each? I don't remember.
What's that?
What's the proofs on each of those?
This year's is a little bit lower at 64.6%.
Okay.
Last year's was 72.05.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
And then this is all I have left of my favorite, the 2015, which was 69.1.
Okay.
He would grab that little sample and get it out of the fire.
Yeah, I would. I can say the George Staggs have been my favorites.
So right now, if you read a lot of like different people's opinions, the overall opinion is that Stag is the best bourbon on the market. And
he would agree.
From what I tried, not just proof wise, but flavor wise, I'm gonna have to agree with that. But the last time I tried one was 14. It's been a couple years.
Yeah. Claire is commenting. Claire has become. I talked Claire into finding the 2015, and I don't know if he'd tried too many of the Stags before then. He had asked what my favorite was. I told him the 2015 Stag. I think that's led him to buy several of the Stags, and he has at least 2 or 3 bottles now of the 2015 Stag. One of which has my name on it. He doesn't know it.
Oh, yeah.
One of those.
Yeah. Claire's a smart man, first of all.
Well, or woman. We don't know. He's gender neutral.
True. Gender neutral. It's just the third. It could be there's like 3 people named Claire in his hood. Or her hood.
So then question for you guys, not really trying to knock you for your age, but you are older than I am. So when did you guys get into it to start, like really into it? And what got you into it?
Bart, go.
I'd seen, oddly enough, a History Channel show on the history of spirits. They really went in depth. I love history in general. And immediately I wanted to set up a Scotch tasting. And we had a local liquor store, Dave Dvorak, who was on our 12 Hours of Boom, did our first organized tasting, kind of like he would a wine tasting, but he did it with Scotch. And Scott just found some recent pictures I think he put up on Instagram. What was that, 2009?
Yes.
And that was it. On that one, Talisker 10, and the Cragganmore, what was it, the anniversary edition? What was it?
Distillers, Cragganmore Distillers edition.
Distillers, wow. And we were off and running. And what did you like in that one, Scott?
I don't even remember. The Lagavulin was very off-putting to me from the peat. I can remember that.
We were not ready for any peat at all. At that.
There was a Dalwhinnie 15 we had in there as well from the pictures. And the Cragganmore Distillers edition I remember liking as well.
And so you guys got in kind of at the same time that kind of rocketed the whole whiskey thing?
Right, but right before that, my wife had gone on a girls' cruise with friends and cousins. And she came home all excited. And she said, I got your dad a big bottle of scotch. They were cheap. They were cheap on the ship. And I said, well, that's good, but my dad doesn't drink scotch. And she said, well, that's more for you then, I guess, because I bought one for you too. And I go, I don't drink scotch. And she goes, you don't? I go, when have you ever seen me sitting around sipping on whiskey?
She knew you well. She knew the future.
So, and it's Johnny Walker Black. And I thought, well, since she bought me, and it was a half gallon, and I think they were like $50 or something on the ship. So I thought, well, since she bought it for me, I'll try it. And I sat down and I had, this much Johnny Walker and about this much water and ice. And I thought, that's not too bad. And so over time, that water just started coming down, and the whiskey started going up, up, up. So that's
how did that go again? What was that? How did that go?
That's how we got where we're at. It's like Viagra. The whiskey,
Yeah.
the whiskey
Thank
was
God
going
for the
up.
blue pill. Wait till you're our age.
And then, so it's like you said, 2009.
Yes.
So
7, 8. Yeah. Our first tasting was in 09. But I'd had a few before that, and I think me and Bart had gotten together before that a couple times and just had some just between me and him.
I used to drink Knob Creek, but that was, every once in a while.
So let's reminisce a little bit. Back then, what could you find on a shelf that you cannot find on a shelf today?
See, I was clueless. I wouldn't have even.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
I wouldn't have even known. We thought here's how dumb we were when we started the show. We thought, man, what are we going to do after a year of this show? We may be out of bottles. Whatever. There's so many bottles out there we can't keep up now. Of course, we're doing worldwide. We're doing all the bourbons, the ryes.
Yeah.
So it's a wide, wide world.
I do. Yeah, I remember thinking that as well for our area. I thought by the time we get to our 100th review, we'll have about reviewed everything here. We're coming up on 400 reviews, and I can go into any liquor store and find something we haven't had.
So I remember back then, you could walk in pretty much anywhere and find Weller 12 or any of the Wellers. Actually, I remember 2 years ago, you could find a Weller 107 anywhere. You could find Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, Elijah Craig, when I first started at least, 2000, I think it was 11. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, Elijah Craig 12 year. Things that are just gone now at that like 50, 60 or less price point that just don't exist anymore. So, yeah, it kind of makes me sad in ways. I guess it kind of makes me happy too, like because this Kentucky Owl stuff that I think is pretty good is out now, and High West is doing well, and they come out with some good stuff. So there's the good and the bad to it. But I think the way whiskey is going, like if you see right about there, where I'm pointing my finger, there's a Knob Creek single barrel store pick. I think it's going towards, there's just not enough to go around, so they're going to reward these stores that do and markets that do the single barrel purchasing. And I think that's where you're really going to find your best bottles are these single barrels where they pick something that's truly special. So it's kind of neat because it's not just something that everyone can like Stag that's awesome, but only so many people can get. You might have a really good store pick barrel in your backyard that you've never discovered that might blow you away. It might be better than anything you've ever tasted.
Yeah. True. Yeah. And that's the thing with the store picks, and you get some good. We had, I can tell you one of my favorite examples of that for Kansas. One of our distributors picked out a cask and brought in of a Glen Rothus. It's a 14-year single cask, sherry cask edition, as one of the best sherried scotches I've had.
Thank you, Adam, for picking that bad boy.
Yes.
And that's really cool to see because, that wasn't really a thing when I first started store picks. I think there was one store in our area that had a Eagle Rare barrel, and that was it. So it's cool to see. Now they all have them. At least around me, there's probably 6 party stores within 5 miles that have some kind of barrel of something. So.
Well, and go back up a ways. Claire asked what made us and you, start doing YouTube reviews. I can tell you, me and Bart, we worked together, and we were sitting around, and we would have, we're both supervisors, and we'd have employees come in the office, and me and Bart would be talking to them, telling stories. They'd stay and listen. Till we tell them, hey, you got to get out of here. You got to go to work. And then Bart was like, I do these board game. I hate to say it. I don't want to encourage him, but Bart says Bart does these board game reviews, and he goes, people send me board games just to review for free. What if we could do that with whiskey and people just send us whiskey? And I said, jackpot, let's do it. Well, and we were at the same time though, too, we were just getting into Scotch, and we were watching other reviewers on YouTube, and we were thinking we can do it better than they can.
We can do it. I don't know better. We can do it. We can do it.
We can bring something they don't, because look at all these people that just listen to us talk and tell stories and us banter back and forth. We can bring that to YouTube and go from there.
Boom. We'll do it different.
That's the cool part about YouTube, though, is that it's not just like I watch the Ralphie videos, and I like watching what he thinks, but I don't understand about half of it. So, it's not for me. Like, I watch your channel and I connect with it when you guys review. So I think that's the cool part about YouTube is you're never just going to have like the best channel for some certain whiskey or reviewer of whiskey. You're going to have people that you kind of connect with. Like, people on my channel, they say they like me because I'm like humble and it's just a true like amateur's opinion of whiskey because I've only been into it a couple years. But then you get people that they want like the true expert's opinion. So if they want that, they're going to go watch like the Liquor Hound channel, or they're going to go watch, Ralphie or something. And that's just the difference. Like, and I think I have a pretty average palate and a pretty good understanding of bourbon and whiskey, but I'm not going to say that I'm like an Al Young and I can taste things that you and I would never even notice. So that's why I like YouTube. I think it's a cool place to go find pretty much anything that you want different opinions on. So
yeah, and I look at, I mean, there's not just one TV show out there. There's not even just one TV network. There's many networks. There's many shows. People watch all of them. Every one of them brings something different, something unique, except for all the CSI shows. I mean, how many are there? Like 10 of those. They're all the same. Come on.
Hey, Whiskey Watch, he can't believe we're supervisors. Scott made that up.
Someone probably put one in charge with the other and the other one in charge with the other one. So they think they're supervising something, but in fact, they're not supervising anything.
Yeah, we supervise like widgets and put them in little pegs and holes.
Hey, one of these days we're going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you guys, someone said Whiskey in the Six. Have you checked that out? I have not seen that channel.
That's a good looking man there.
Oh yeah, Rob is Whiskey in the Six, and he is, many of us male reviewers are jealous of Rob.
Right. First of all, the beard he sports will turn you on. That's all I'm saying.
All right, we're checking this out right now.
Yeah.
Whiskey.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it.
No, you're gonna fall in love at first sight and with the beard. That's all I'm saying. It's well trimmed, it's groomed. He's
all right, so you can't be a model and do YouTube whiskey at the same time.
No.
Rob. And I think he could break out French on command. That's all.
Now he does. The thing is, though, the beard goes through different phases. Sometimes it's bushier and a little bit longer, and sometimes it's pretty short and well trimmed.
Yeah, I've got a little of the gray coming in here.
Somebody wants to know if I'm trimming my nails. I should. I think I clicked on something, my little iPad deal.
No, that's your chair. You need to get rid of that freaking chair.
Bruno doesn't like my wood chair.
Every time you move, the camera switches to you, dude.
What? Maybe that is a happy accident.
Yeah, my chair is literally like peeling apart. My wife keeps saying she's going to get me a new one, but office chairs are expensive now, especially like the good ones. So I'm like, I'd rather buy whiskey.
All right. Well, hey, I think it probably is about time. We're at hour and a half mark.
Woo!
Oh wow, yeah.
Kind of a good show.
Dave, thank you very much for joining us. I know, and we'll have to do it again. We got a lot to talk about. I mean, we got a lot in common, a lot of different whiskeys and stuff we can look at. It took a while. Well, I don't know if it took a while, but, we had messaged you a while back to come on the show with us, and then you took a hiatus, and then you finally saw the message, and we finally
I didn't even know there was YouTube messaging until like 2 months ago. So I appreciate you guys still getting back in touch with me.
Yeah, it's not a very good the whole YouTube is not a user-friendly platform.
It's great for uploading a video, but for interaction, like it tells you when everyone comments, but when people message you or post on your wall or whatever, I didn't even notice. I didn't even know it was a thing. I got emails, but I never actually saw a message. So. Oh yeah, I'm glad that you guys reached back out to do this. This is fun. This is absolutely fun, and I was glad to check out your channel too. I looked at it a couple times, but I've never really watched in depth through your videos. I watched, like I said, probably 10 of them just today. I was glad to see that. So I was glad to see you guys doing well and people enjoying your channel.
That's good. I'm going to break out my clippers.
Well, now he is doing it.
Yeah, now I'm doing it.
Have Dave, tell everybody again the name of your channel. Give them your Twitter handle, your Instagram handle if you're on IG, and then we'll close it out.
They're all whiskey blooded. can't remember which ones I actively use. I mainly use Facebook and YouTube, and they're both /Whiskey Blooded. So definitely check those out. Instagram, I'm on every once in a while, and I think it's the same handle at Whiskey Blooded. But YouTube is my most common platform. You know, the videos I post and the stuff like this that I do. And yeah, we still got obviously some people here in my channel. So for those in my channel, make sure to check out Scotch Test Dummies. Your handle is always that, or is it anything different for your social media platforms?
On Twitter, we are at Scotch Test Dummies. On Instagram, we are at Real Scotch Test Dummies.
Yep, I remember seeing that. Okay. And at YouTube, you're just Scotch Test Dummies.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, guys, check them out at Scotch Test Dummies. Absolutely a cool channel, and it was fun to do this with you guys and to try this different stuff. That's really fun. So.
Yeah, thank you again for joining us. I think it was a blast, and I mean, like I say, we'll have to get back together again for sure in the future. So
yeah, next tasting we'll do Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. We're for sure doing that. We've talked about that enough tonight, so we'll do that next time.
There you go. You can always tell a good show when we drift over the hour.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun to kind of meet both of you here and have a couple drinks with you.
All right, Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
Cilantro.
All right.
Dummies.
See you guys.
Hang on the line.